Cause Before Symptom with your host, James Carner.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Maximus Inc., a company you probably never heard of and is wicked to the core. Stick around. Welcome to Cause Before Symptom. I'm your host, James Carner. Today is October 4th, 2024, an election year. And during an election year, we're under attack by corporatocracy, which doesn't surprise me. And they're going to continue to attack our country because we, the people, will not do anything about it. And that's unfortunate. And the reason being, and I truly believe this because I've done my homework, is that we are a nation that is drugged up and fed a daily diet of propaganda and electromagnetic frequency mind control devices all throughout the airwaves, and we're receiving it. And what they're telling us through these signals is to consume and shut up. Don't rebel. Don't stand up. It's safer. And this is why the government was paid by BlackRock $50 million to the Department of Defense to create weather warfare against a part of the country that is rich in lithium and quartz crystals. And as I said last night, it is so obvious you can't wake me up from this. You can't say, well, look at this information, because I won't buy it. Because as far as America is concerned, it's over, folks. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but my prediction in the future is we're going to split up. And most likely it will be between blue and red states. Because that's what happened in Russia. Russia, right after the Berlin Wall came down, Russia collapsed, or the Soviet Union at the time, they collapsed. Well, Soviet Union is nothing more than United States. We have been socialist and communist, but it appeared to be capitalism, but it never was. The truth is, Washington, D.C. is control of a corporation, the United States of America Incorporated, owned by, from what I understand in my research, the Jesuits, to do their bidding, to spread democracy and steal, pillage, destroy, and rape countries for their resources. All for a grand master plan of what we would call a new world order. And our military is in on it. I don't buy that they're holding back and getting ready to bring Trump in and give our country back. If any proof that Trump's not in charge is evident, it is the Department of Defense used weather warfare against the people of the United States. That is a declaration of war. But do we have the balls to stand up? Oh, fuck no. We don't have the balls. And the reason being is because we are spiritually neglected We are missing elements of patriotism, and we, quite frankly, don't understand our own history because it's been hidden so well. So what happens next is division. And states like Texas decide, we'll make more money if we secede, which, in fact, they would. All they need is an army. All they need is equipment. All they need is a supplier. And build an army and protect its borders. And believe me, if there's any shot of what we would call the American dream, which was a lie to begin with by the bankers, it would start in Texas and continue moving forward. However, if you watch Texas and their behavior towards their border, it doesn't really look like Texas is really standing up to the New World Order and the Biden administration. That's how I see it. There is a company called Maximus Inc. This Sunday, I have an interview with a gentleman by the name of Jack Pendergrass, who is a researcher, artist, and alienated father who is exposing non-government organizations like the Military Industrial Complex's NGO, company called Maximus Inc. Maximus was founded in 1975 by David Vincent Mastran, spelled M-A-S-T-R-A-N. Mastran, I don't know. He was a Vietnam vet and former employee of the US Dept of Health, Education, and Welfare. Decided, well, the government isn't doing a good enough job in that area, so I'm going to make it private. He also has been linked to the MITRE Corporation secretive group called Jason. MITRE is M-I-T-R-E, an acronym that I neglected to pull up what it means, but the MITRE Corporation has a secretive group called Jason, which is an elite group of scientists, mad scientists, who have been advisors to the Defense Department, the CIA, and other governmental agencies, all combined. This group was exposed in the Pentagon Papers, and they have been called mad scientists and, well, have been called out as war criminals. I want to give a shout out to Amanda, Boots, Texas Militia, Claire, and Kimmy. Hello, guys. Thank you for being on the show tonight. So I thought I would do a little dig into Maximus, the company, tonight to get you prepared for the interview that I will release next week with Jack Pendergrass. Now, Maximus secured the nation's first privatized welfare contract in 1987 in Los Angeles County, California. Meaning, instead of it being a state-controlled welfare department, they took it over and made it private, just like they did, not they, but just like companies do with prisons. Instead of the federal government or the state paying for the prison, it gets taken over by a private company for profit via capitalization. Now, not only did they secure Los Angeles and privatize the welfare there, they secured Wisconsin among the first states to contract with Maximus to run welfare to work programs in the 1990s. Privatization of social services was brought in by the Clinton administration. Due to Clinton's pledge to end welfare as we know it, it actually became an all-purpose elixir on their 1992 campaign trail, according to Jason DeParle, a New York Times reporter who covered welfare reform. Maximus contracts for social programs went from $19 million in 1998 to $2.5 billion by 2018 in revenue. And believe me, since 2018, they've grown. They've made more than $2.5 billion. Doing all the paperwork and managing welfare, and even more. Maximus grew so fast while it was developing their welfare to work programs, from hiring caseworkers to designing matrix to assess the workers and get them paid. Meaning the employees that were supposed to be paid by the state are now paid by Maximus, which caused all kinds of problems. They devised ways of managing child support enforcement, consulted with governments on cost-cutting measures, and dipped its toes into prison services. It ran contracts in Africa and Latin America and for the World Bank, which is the International Monetary Fund, and the U.S. Agency for International Development. And it oversaw workforce programs in Israel and Australia. Now, David Mastran built on the lessons he'd learned from the Nixon administration that programs claiming to reduce fraud were an easy sell across the political spectrum. He says, quote, "We got more business from the Democrats than the Republicans," says Mastran, who now runs an educational software company in Nashville, Tennessee. Since 1975, Maximus Inc., based in Arlington, Virginia, has quietly amassed massive amounts of power and control throughout the world. They are often awarded contracts worth millions of dollars for which there were no competitors. They operate worldwide with government health and human services programs, and many others, of course, including in the military, on a global basis with no oversight. With over 400 subsidiaries worldwide, yes, 400 companies that they own worldwide, you'd be hard-pressed to find an industry that wasn't affected by Maximus Inc. To paraphrase again, founder David Mastran, we laid the blueprints for government privatization. So, why might this be a concern? Well, Maximus has single-handedly changed the face of government-administered programs for state, federal, and even through other countries in which they operate, including China. Yes, they operate in China. They often receive no-bid contracts worth billions of dollars, all to be administered with less oversight and out of the eye of public opinion. In this way, they have the potential to essentially subvert entire governments. In late January of '68, Operation Igloo White was launched in Vietnam. DARPA had recruited Mastran, the founder of Maximus, as one of the key analysts for this project in which biosensors, computers, and communications relay sought to automate warfare. But really, they weaponized welfare. I swear to God. This tech that he built, well, he didn't build it, but he had the team to do it, became part of Maximus in later years. The PROMIS system, spelled PROMIS system, which is an acronym for Prosecutors Management Information System, is another key component. It is a computer-based management information system designed to track arrests, defendants, charges, cases, court events, and witness through the judicial process. Yeah, they've got their tentacles in many states. I'll name the states soon. And yes, they have their hands in these cookie jars. Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare, which is the Affordable Care Act, child support, FEMA, IRS, CDC, the FSA, which is the Federal Student Loan Program, and state contract tracing programs, and the family court systems. They're getting all that information. And they claim that they are mapping out all the problems and sending back better reports and fixing problems and saving money. But really what they're doing is they're gathering data on Americans. What are they going to use this data for? It would be really easy to find people to help you traffic people, human trafficking. With the kind of power that they have, you could find predators, blackmail them, and get them to work for you. This company is bigger than we could all ever imagine and has been hiding in plain sight for a very, very long time. The single most invasive and pervasive non-governmental organization in modern times. You see, Maximus Inc. has had a stranglehold on the American people without anyone being fully aware. Most people know about corporations like IBM, Rand, MITRE, and even Tavistock and their power over humanity, but these major think tanks are just subsidiaries of the military complex, who I believe is controlling Maximus Inc. But not hardly anyone is familiar with or have even heard of Maximus. Maximus is privately closed, or a private closed corporation that the deep state uses because legally they can't do the horrible things they do to people, like what happened to Jack. Remember the guy I'm going to be interviewing soon, Jack Pendergrass? Well, apparently his story is he was trying to get custody of his kids and ran into this Maximus Incorporated and decided to start digging. What began with him as an investigation into child support, also known as Title IVD funding and Title IVE funding for Jack Pendergrass to see his kids, has led him to major players in every facet of the beast system. And Maximus is the weapon. If one digs deep enough, they will find that the militaries of the world are products of the Vatican, Jesuit, black nobility, also known as the Phoenicians, the Canaanite bloodlines, etc., This includes the covens and cults of the world. Now, there is speculation that the Maximus Orsini clan itself are the ones that control Maximus. They, the Orsinis, sit on top of the power structure. I'll explain a little bit more about that later on. But easily the most overlooked aspect of Maximus Inc. is the amount of contracts that they have with government here and worldwide. More than any other government contractor ever. They make the most money. NGO, non-government organization. It appears they have quietly become the government itself through privatization in the name of capitalism. This is why the left hate capitalism. Because of companies like this. In fact, most of the news articles that I was reading about Maximus and their fraud schemes were from leftist organizations saying these are the problem with capitalism. And I agree 100%. Those Maximus contracts involve every agency that we've been seeing weaponized by every administration, with the exception of Trump, that we know of. Now, this could be a big clue. Maybe Trump will come out and white hat us out. I doubt it. If it happens, like I tell everybody, I will be relieved. I'll hang up my spurs and call it a day. But I think he is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he's got the right in his left pocket. Maximus's influence extends to the White House. Believe it or not, it was Maximus Inc. that created the Obamacare databases. All the data that holds all the information about you and the diseases or ailments you have and the drugs that you take. All of you. Imagine what kind of power that can bring. Just think. Maximus also created the databases for child support, foster care, teen pregnancy runaways, CMS, and healthcare assessments for most of the programs in the DHEU and HHS. All seemingly find their origins with Maximus Inc. and its founder, David V Mastran. Now, David is considered one of the social engineers of the 20th century. People love him. He was hand-selected by Robert McNamara. You remember that guy? For Igloo White in Vietnam. Robert McNamara was primarily accused of misleading the American public about the Vietnam War. As the Secretary of Defense during the Johnson administration, Robert McNamara, was heavily involved in the decision-making process that led to the escalation of the U.S. involvement in the conflict, which by now the U.S. government has already, through FOIA documentation, admitted that Vietnam was planned by America for resources there, and the United States government admitted that the Gulf of Tonkin was created by themselves, a false flag, meaning the American government sank its own ship to declare war on Vietnam. Operation Igloo White was the beginning of the modern age of weaponizing biometrics and data collection programs. It led up to the weaponization of healthcare information. And Obama helped create the Minnesota Federal Healthcare Exchange databases, which metamorphosed nationally to Obamacare, with the help of Senator Bill Frist, who created AHCA and founded United Healthcare in Tennessee. The enemy is everywhere. I've never liked any president we've had because they lie to us. All of them. Maximus is partnered with the Socialist Fabian Society, who are actually accused of gradualism. Critics have argued that the Fabian Society's emphasis on gradual and incremental change is too slow and ineffective, particularly in the face of urgent social and economic problems. They're accused of elitism. Some have accused the Fabian Society of being elitists, with its membership and leadership drawn primarily from the middle and upper classes. And the society has been criticized for compromising its socialist principles in order to achieve practical gains within the existing system. The Fabian Society is a British socialist organization founded in 1884. Ironically, right around the time when they created the Learned Elders of Zion protocols. It is named after the Roman general Quintus Fabius Maximus, who was known for his Fabian strategy of attrition and delay, meaning they're patient. Like sandpaper. You won't notice anything's happening till you look back a week from now. There will be a dent in that wood. Maximus is a global provider of workforce management services operating in several countries. Here are the primary regions where they have a significant presence: the United States, which they're the largest provider of privatized welfare and healthcare. This is their largest market, with numerous locations across the country. Australia. Maximus operates in Australia, offering employment, health, and training solutions. Canada. They provide a variety of citizen services in Canada, including healthcare administration and government programs. Say it isn't so. India. Maximus has operations in India focusing on workforce solutions. Saudi Arabia. They actually serve clients in Saudi Arabia. South Korea. Maximus offers services in South Korea. United Arab Emirates. They have a presence in the UAE. The United Kingdom. Maximus operates in the UK, providing workforce-centered services. In China, they're operating in China because Gemini AI said it is. But they won't tell us what they're doing in China, for China, which is very suspicious. Maximus also owns the current companies: Maximus Australia Company Private Limited, ITEQ, ITEQ, Holding Company Inc., Maximus BC Health Inc., which is British Columbia, Maximus Human Services Inc. in America, Maximus Asia Pte Limited, Maximus Canada Employment Services, Inc. And my favorite, Aged Care Assessments Australia Private Limited. You know, we've got to make some money off those damn seniors. Maximus Federal Services, Inc. in America. Gee, does that not sound... Can you even put the name Federal in there? I guess you do. Federal Express. Yeah, I guess you can. Privatized. Federal Reserve is privatized. Did you guys know that? Yeah, privatized central bank. It's not owned by the Americans. It's not a government. I'm sure you guys knew this, right? Themis Program Management and Consulting Limited, THEMIS. I've heard of that before. Maximus BC Health Benefit, which is in British Columbia. Maximus Gulf Company Limited in Saudi Arabia. Ascend Management Innovations, LLC. Ascend. Getting into the new age, are we? And INSYSCO, INSYSCO, Inc. I've heard of them before. Isn't it fun learning about companies that use profit over care?
We are exposing the hidden culprits behind your constant fatigue and brain fog. This is going to blow your mind. No, really. If you're always tired, chugging coffee, and missing out on life, it's because you're exhausted. Listen up. It's not just you. It could be your gut. Your brain fog and fatigue might actually be due to dormant good bacteria in your gut, and that makes it hard to flush parasites and heavy metals, the real villains here. Crazy, right? The Invisible Threat Research team found that these toxins can mess up your energy and focus big time. We've got a free report that spills all the details. Or skip straight to action with Elite Potions Detox Kit. Packed with non-GMO, organic ingredients, it kills parasites and binds to heavy metals. Listen to Robert from Las Vegas.
I just turned 50 and felt 20 again after using it. My heliopath approved it.
Modern diseases often trace back to these toxins. So why not give it a shot? Detox now and feel the difference. Order now and reclaim your energy.
Order now! Guys, it works. This is my company. This is what is supporting the show. And this Elite Potion is what will save your life from the parasites and the heavy metals that are inside your body right now, making you tired, lethargic, sick. You're sick, you don't even feel it because you're so used to being sick. They've been spraying our skies since 1995 with aluminum, strontium, barium, and cadmium to deflect the sun from global warming. And using it for weaponization of weather. And thanks to the oil companies, they decided to get into healthcare because, hey, why not? They're making a buttload of money. They decided to switch our guts upside down by us swallowing petrochemicals. Yes, you and I, on a yearly basis, swallow the equivalent of plastic as a credit card. That's how much plastic we eat. And that's not good for your stomach. And that's why I invented this product. For you, for my son, and for me. It works. I'm not lying. Back to Maximus, the evil corporation. David Vincent Mastran is the son of Colonel Joseph Lee Mastran of Virginia. Joseph, who was 87, Vincent's dad, died of respiratory failure May 15th at Innova Alexandria Hospital. He had a heart ailment. He was an Army colonel whose assignments with the Quartermaster Corps in the 1950s included directing research in the irradiation of food, meaning they use ionization processes to irradiate food to make food last longer on the shelves. He lived in Alexandria, retired in 1970 from a program administration position having to do with the benefits of commissionary and post-exchange employees. He was recalled to duty to work on policy issues for an additional 3 years. He was a native of Peekskill, New York, and a 1940 graduate of the US Military Academy at West Point. He served, this is his father, with the 1st Special Service Force of Italy, during World War II. He also commanded a camp for German POWs. His honors included 2 Bronze Stars. 2 Bronze Stars. Worked in Italy. You think him and the Orsinis got along? I have no proof of that. He received a master's degree in business from the University of Pennsylvania after the war, and he attended the Industrial College of the Armed Forces. His postings included Alaska and Hawaii. Colonel Mastran, who conducted the West Point Symphony while a cadet, played the violin, organ, cornet, and harmonica. Survivors include his wife of 63 years, Mary Pauline Mastran of Alexandria. 3 children, Dr. David V Mastran of Washington, Joseph L. Mastran Jr. of Reston, and Christy Marlowe of Alexandria, a brother, 3 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. That is, if this is the correct father. This is research that I did. I can't verify if that is it, but it sure really does match with my research. Maximus's federal lobbying. Okay, this is how much money they put into giving money to senators and congressmen. Was almost $1 million in 2018 and remains $1 million per year since. The Biden administration's decision in September of 2022 to award a 9-year, $6.6 billion contract to Maximus of Virginia to help manage call centers across the country. But Biden officials' decision to end the contract 15 months later was puzzling, citing concerns about customer service. Guys, there's only 340 million Americans, and believe me, not all of us are on the phone with Obamacare. But a 6-year contract? Or, I'm sorry, a 9-year contract for $6.6 billion for a call center to handle the Affordable Care Act? That's insane. It does not cost $6.6 billion to run a call center. I know, because I used to run a call center in India. We didn't need billions. Millions, yes, but billions, no. This is absolute theft right in front of your eyes. Oh, and Maximus also was running 1-800-Medicare. That was them when you ever called them on the phone. So they're absolute con artists, scammers, capitalistic demons, and they're the ones that are responsible for you not getting your benefits because they're like an insurance company and a hurricane comes through and they say, oh, well, you weren't covered for a hurricane, so go pound sand. Really? It is the privatization of state organizations into a profitability market. Doesn't that sound bad? Well, this is why a lot of the people on the left, when they knew what was going on and they were fighting against the New World Order, especially the World Trade Organization in Seattle, when they were picketing and fighting that whole thing because they saw the New World Order happening. And unfortunately, their own party turned into commies. I'm not saying the right is good either. They're not. They both, the left and the right parties, are working for the same entities. Same bird, 2 wings. It's an illusion. Now, Maximus Inc. has faced a number of controversies and allegations of fraud over the years. Here are some highlights of it. Medicaid fraud and performance issues. In Kansas Medicaid, Maximus was criticized for its performance in managing Kansas's Medicaid program called CanCare. Wonderful. The company was accused of underbidding, understaffing, and failing to adequately train staff, leading to delays in processing claims and denying benefits to eligible recipients. Well, yeah, if you're going to make billions of dollars in profit, you're not going to give a shit about your employees. Isn't that what capitalism is all about? Screw the employees. Do your job or we'll hire another. And believe me, they don't have problems with hiring people who have worked for the company their entire life, kick them out for somebody younger who'll work for half. Because, hey, capitalism. Now, that doesn't mean capitalism is bad. It just means all isms will corrupt. They always do. And the bad guys will find ways around it to benefit them. Other states, Maximus has faced similar allegations in states like Georgia, where it was accused of failing to meet performance targets and improperly denying Medicaid benefits. They had a huge data breach. Have you heard of their little program called Move It? MOVEIT? Well, in 2023, Maximus was impacted by a data breach involving Progress Software's Move It transfer software. This breach exposed the personal information of Medicare beneficiaries. They blamed it on Russia, though. You know, it's Putin. The SEC was charging them. Family employment disclosure. Well, the SEC charged Maximus in 2023, last year, for failing to disclose the employment of an executive officer's siblings who were also Maximus employees. The company agreed, they lost. When you agree, they agreed to pay a $500,000 penalty to the SEC. See, that's the SEC's way of saying, yeah, you're making all this money. Pay the piper. Welfare to work programs. Well, there were misuse of funds. Can you believe it? Maximus has been accused of misusing taxpayer funds intended for welfare to work programs. In Wisconsin, the company was criticized for spending money on market materials and workforce or workfare programs in other states. Well, they've got to make a profit, guys. They've got shareholders. There are more ongoing scrutiny investigations. Handling of sensitive government data and programs, the company still continues to face scrutiny from regulatory agencies and watchdog groups. For example, wage disputes and labor issues. Because of low wages, Maximus has been criticized for paying low wages to its employees, particularly in call center roles. Yeah. Union disputes. The company has faced union organizing efforts and allegations of unfair labor practices. Well, yeah. You gotta make a profit. Profiting off of your taxpayer dollars, folks. Ethical concerns, there's conflict of interest. Maximus has been accused of conflict of interest due to its involvement in both government contracting and lobbying. Can you contract for the government and give money to the government to get you to have the government do something for you? Sounds like a conflict of interest to me. Corporate governance. Some investors have expressed concerns about the company's corporate governance practices, meaning they don't follow through what they say they're going to follow through with. Data security and privacy, well, in addition to the Move It transfer vulnerability, the big data breach, Maximus has faced other data security incidences, raising concerns about its ability to protect sensitive information about you. You see, you pay the government to hold your information and keep it private. Yet companies like Maximus get a data leak, which in my opinion, it wasn't a data leak. They sold it to the highest bidder and then said it's a data leak. Oh no, up-to-do. For profit. Most likely to China. China wants all the information on every American so they can use that to attack us. China does not like America. They never have. Not because you're a bad person. They don't care about that. It's because China wants to rule the world. And as I've said before, China is playing the role of New World Order with the United Nations, and they could turn on a dime and go the opposite direction anytime they want. Because ultimately, China hates their religion, Kabbalism. And believe me, they're always plotting a way to get out of the UN agreements. They face public relations challenges. The company has struggled to manage negative publicity and maintain a positive public image. And these issues have contributed to a complex and sometimes negative perception of the company. While Maximus has taken steps to address some of the concerns, it continues to face challenges in maintaining a strong reputation and delivering high-quality services to its government clients. Last year, Maximus Inc. reported revenues of $4.9 billion in 2023. That's how much money they made. $4.9 billion. Okay? How much is a billion? Well, that's 1,000 million. Times 4. 1,000 million times 4. That's a lot of money. And that represents 5.9% increase from the previous year. So the previous year, they made around $4 billion. A little more. Maximus is not a nonprofit organization. It is a publicly traded company that generates revenue by providing government services. Yeah. As a for-profit company, Maximus's primary goal is to generate profits for its shareholders. So that's all you have to need. That's all you need to know. And if you look into its shareholders of Maximus, it would not surprise me one iota if BlackRock has a majority of the shares. I haven't looked into it yet. But BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, they're coming for you, baby. They're the Tri-Cities of the Jesuits, using private investment companies to take over government while you were bitching and whining about the fake president that gets fake elected every year. Maximus Inc. does work with China. The company has operations in China and provides services to Chinese government agencies. I verified this. This includes projects related to healthcare in China, social services in China, and other government programs. Maximus's presence in China is part of its global expansion strategy. Now, their involvement with China, it revolves around providing government services. Just government. But it's quite interesting to see that an American corporation is getting data on Chinese citizens. That poses a threat to the sovereignty of China. America, who gives a shit? We're giving it all for free. You guys, all of your data, your social security number has been breached so many times, it's out there now. Scammers have all of your information, folks. You just have to pray that they don't use it against you and start a bank account and then screw you by using your name. And the reason why we have these data breaches is because we decided that it's okay to privatize for-profit government institutions. Hell, why not make Congress and Senate a moneymaker and privatize that? Privatize the Department of Justice. It's just another angle that these elite take to get their fingers into control. Maximus is working in the healthcare industry in China through claims processing and patient services in China. Maximus is doing social services to support social welfare programs and unemployment benefits and disability assistance in China. The government administration, Maximus, is helping the Chinese government agencies improve their efficiency and effectiveness through consulting services and technology solutions. They have power. Like Diddy. He had power. He had to drug his victim and rape him on camera, but I think this is the same thing, except privatized corporation taking over government institutions. I don't blame Maximus at all, because we're not doing our jobs. We're not. I'm not if I just heard of this company now. I have to thank Urban for that. Urban showed me this documentation he wrote, a report on Maximus, and I read it and I'm like, jeez, are you kidding me? Why did I not see this company? Now, the name Maximus, it's an important name. It's from the Orsini family of Italy. Remember I taught you they were one of the Ghibellines or Welfs who fought each other during the Dark Ages, okay? The Orsini family were the ones that finally in 1500 installed their pope and then took control of the Catholic Church, and rumor is they have been controlling the Catholic Church for 500 years, that Orsini family. The Orsinis put in their great pope, allegedly Domenico Napoleon Orsini, or Pepe the Frog, as Q is joking and cracking up using this meme as a joke, is on us. The Orsini family was one of the most celebrated princely families in medieval Italy and Renaissance Rome. And believe it or not, their roots trace back to Germany, which I believe that would make them the Ghibellines. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a history buff. I don't give a shit. All I know is they're evil. Now, I can't find any connection to the Orsini family and the Mastran family. David. And I haven't found anything that links them together to provide corruption and racketeering. But I did find a 1997 article about Maximus. Back in 1997, guys, they ran welfare programs in Connecticut, New York, Colorado, Maryland, Hawaii, California, Texas, and Tennessee. Yeah, red and blue states. And this article exposes Maximus as doing embezzlement, corruption, misconduct, racketeering, and fraud which led to many criminal investigations of the company. Now, of course, the company denies any wrongdoing. And they also, on top of that, denies you welfare and child support like insurance company denies claims. All for profit, just like insurance companies. And they have settled many lawsuits over the years in the tens of millions. Just one lawsuit alone was $30 million they settled. But I know there's more than that. Now, online, when we go online, when we start, it's common to see websites, social media posts, and videos of people saying they have evidence of Maximus artificially inflating the rating numbers for employees in violation of community guidelines and false claims for Medicaid reimbursement under a contract. They're all over the place. All you have to do is type in Maximus fraud. Ironically, Maximus offers a fraud detention service to its own clients. Fraud detection, not detention, but fraud detection. Need to update that. Yeah, so they provide a fraud detection service to their own clients, and yet they're committing atrocities with data that is leaked all the time. What a great company Maximus is. Guys, I'm not a finance expert. I don't know anything about stock, but I'll tell you what, if you want to make money, you just invest where the bad guys invest. Go follow Nancy Pelosi. You know, she's got insider trading info. We all know it. That's how you make money. All you have to do is go mortgage a house, take the money, any of the cash you can get out of it, you know, because there are deals where you can get cash, or sell your house, and then invest in Nancy Pelosi stocks, and in a couple of years, you'll be able to retire. Yet, Maximus still wins awards for achievement at the Technovidi 2024 award show for their fraud risk management system. God, you can't make this up. They get a trophy for mitigating fraud while they commit it. Now, if that's not the devil and his MO, I don't know what is. But that just describes Satan right off the get-go. To commit fraud and win an award for it. Now, it appears Maximus pays millions a year to clean up their own bad reputation online. You can find this out because there is a thing called Wayback Machine online where you can actually go back and visit websites that are 20 years old that talk about Maximus and all of the horrible, rotten shit they've been doing. And for good reason, too, right? That's what I would do. I would try to wipe away all of my crimes as much as I possibly can. But make no mistake, Maximus, they have their hands in government and military, which really should be a conflict of interest or just plain illegal. The problem with this company is severalfold. One, profit over care. We can agree with that. Two, data breach. That's a biggie. But still, profit over care, come on. 3, overquoting and overbilling. Making money. And 4, blackmail for racketeering. Meaning they've got so much information on senators, congressmen, etc. They could pull that information on their dying grandma and literally, there's just so many things you can do with their information. And the biggest one, I think, that does more damage to the American people is giving China all of the Move It data. Capital M, capital O, capital V, capital E, underscore I, underscore T. Move It. Data breach. It was a significant cyber attack that occurred in late May of 2023. And the attack exploited a 0-day vulnerability in progress softwares that Move It had when they were transferring data, which is a widely used file transfer application. Well, this vulnerability allowed attackers to gain unauthorized access to sensitive stored data within the application. Meaning they purposely created a data breach and sold it to China because they can make more money from the lawsuits after they pay off the lawsuits than they would if they didn't do it. And nowadays, you're a hero when you have a data breach because you're all over the news. And nobody seems to give a rat's ass. The attackers, the cybercrime group responsible for the attack is believed to be CL0P or CLOP, which is a Russian-speaking ransomware group. Russian-speaking ransomware group known for its involvement in various data breaches and extortion schemes. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Russia is good. No, they're just as bad as America. They just don't have the power that America has. Not yet. And the impact of this data breach that was absolutely inconceivable and should have not happened. The breach had a far-reaching impact affecting numerous organizations across various industries. The stolen data often included personal identifiable information such as name, address, social security number, financial data. That is all the information China needs to start hacking into. Actually, not even hacking, just sending an email to you saying, I am from India and I need to deposit my $20 million into. And then they trick you into going, oh my God, this guy's going to give me $1 million to transfer his. But first, you got to pay him money to get it started. That's where the scam goes. But thanks to Move It, anyone that was under Obamacare, all of their information, who gave the Affordable Care Act and all of the states that are part of it, China now has their name, address, social security number, and financial data. They have your contact information, they have your cell phone, your email. They can send you false letters, get you to think. I mean, come on, dude, scams, that's the way to go. People are making bucks. If you're evil. And how much would that database be worth to other countries who will exploit the American people to make a buck in another country? Or a shekel? Some of the other organizations impacted by the breach included government agencies, healthcare providers, educational institutions, and private companies or NGOs. The aftermath, the consequences of the Move It breach, it still is unfolding today. The key developments are lawsuits. There are many lawsuits right now. Many affected individuals and organizations have filed lawsuits against the entities involved in the breach. Good luck. Including Progress Software and the organizations that used the Move It transfer application. Regulatory investigations through government agencies such as the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, have launched investigations into the breach to assess compliance and data privacy laws and to determine if any wrongdoing occurred. Right, all they have to do. Here you go, FTC. There you go. All right, we're good. We're good. Yep, we're good. Increased security awareness nationwide, the breach has highlighted the importance of cybersecurity and the need for organizations to implement robust security measures to protect sensitive data. Well, that just gives the cybersecurity more money, and people have more fear of getting their data breached and hacked. Let me tell you something about data. Data should be hiding behind a firewall. Have you ever heard of what a firewall is? It is just a computer that when all the data comes in, it encrypts it and spits it back out. When all the data goes out, it encrypts it, spits it back out. So that when anything attempts to go out or in, it can't be breached, because any of the information that you find when you're hacking into it, it's just all garbly-gook. Garbly gunk? Garbly goo? I didn't mean to say the first one. Forgive me. And financial losses. The financial costs associated with the breach, it's significant. Legal fees, regulatory fines, potential reputation damage. And it's still occurring. But again, if they end up paying, let's just say, $150 million in legal expenses for this data breach, okay? And they sold it to China for $2.7 billion. Don't you think it's worth it just to do it? Of course it is. Who cares about the legal system when you're too big to fail? There are ongoing developments of the full extent of the damage caused by the MOVEit breach. The news outlets are still talking about it. Government websites are talking about it. Security blogs and forums are still talking about it. And this company has so much backlash against it, I'm surprised that senators and congressmen haven't blackmailed them to keep in business. You know that happens too, right? That's Government 101. To secure your seat, find your enemy and blackmail them. But I'm absolutely surprised that Maximus Inc. was below my radar. And like I said, I never heard of Maximus Inc. until Urban, my producer, brought it up to me. And the tentacles of this New World Order, which I can't find any information connecting them to it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they are. I'll explain. I couldn't find any significant information relating David or his father to any MK Ultra programs or any relationships with the World Economic Forum. Not him. Okay? I think he's just the face of the company. So that means a deeper dive needs to go into the board of directors. And that means Anna Altman, Bruce Caswell, John Haley, Jan Madsen, Richard Montoni, Gayatri Rajan, Raymond Ruddy, and Michael Warren. Well, they have to be investigated. And during my interview with Jack Pendergrass, maybe I will get some more answers.
If you're looking for a publication that delivers honest takes and critical insights into the issues of our day, then look no further than the Flame Paper. The Flame Paper is written for the people, by the people, who aren't afraid to challenge a mainstream narrative, be it healthcare, voter fraud, political correctness, or even the one world government. The Flame is full of timely articles, reports, and expert advice written by freedom-loving, truth-telling experts, journalists, and concerned citizens. To subscribe, go to theflameusa.com.
This has been Cause Before Symptom. I'm your host, James Carner. Thank you for being here and tuning in with me tonight. God bless you. God keep you. God thank you. Tune in tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow night I may not be here. I will try to have a show, but I'm taking my father to the gold mine, and it's a 4-hour drive there and a 4-hour drive back. So I may have a show. It may come on late. I don't know. Maybe a Q&A. I just don't know, but don't get mad at me. Go to jamescarner.com and sign up for my newsletter. It's the only way I can get a hold of you. And go to elitepotion.com and save your life. And if you could all just do me one big favor, just one, love your neighbor. If all of us could do this to each other, this world would be a better place. See you tomorrow.